Okay, so I don't know if y'all could see this, but apparently I think I was talking to myself for like 2 or 3 minutes there. Um, yeah, so you're probably just now catching up to this part. So this is the first time I've scheduled one of these live streams, and I didn't realize. So normally I just hit the button on my streaming thing on my app on OBS, and it will initiate the live stream. And this time, apparently, I had to hit OBS, and I also had to hit the Go Live button inside of YouTube. So a little bit of a learning process. And yeah, I guess I need to start over with what I was talking about to myself for a few minutes. This whole streaming thing is a real learning process, I got to tell you. But anyway, so yeah, today's been an interesting day. If you saw in the community chat tab or feed or whatever you want to call it on YouTube earlier, I was having a real fun day today. Yesterday, I went out and walked out into my front yard and to turn off the preemptive early Christmas decorations that my wife bought, and the ground I noticed was a little soggy. Which, okay, it hasn't rained in like a week. There's no reason that the ground in the middle of my yard should like have water forming in it. So I did some investigative work, walked around. So a little backstory: my front yard used to have a automatic sprinkler system a long time ago, and it has been like defunct for like 20 years. So apparently those lines were leaking, and it was all the way around my house and the back side of my house. So I was doing, at first I thought it was just one, and then I did some more work and realized it was on both sides of the house, and then trying to find out where the source of the thing was. So it took me like 5 hours today, and I am incredibly worn out. I'm just going to state that up front. But a couple things here. Palm CBN, hello. Thanks for stopping by. JNG Otis, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. Yes, we're on. And I see now why you said that, because earlier I was sitting there talking to myself, seeing the live chat, and apparently the video wasn't rolling. The Thielen cast, hello. Hey, thanks for stopping by tonight. There's your shout out. Must be 20 years, must be tired too. Yeah, so my family and I, we moved into this house back in like 1993, 1994. And then I moved out for a few years when I joined the military. I moved out in like 2004 until 2008. And then my mom decided she didn't want the house anymore. And my dad, they'd split up for years. So she was like, hey, do you want to take the house? Otherwise, I'm going to put it on the market or whatever. I'm like, yeah, fine, I guess I'll take the house. But so, I took over the loan on the house, and I've been here ever since. So I've been in this house, with the exception of just a few years, since the year 1993 and 94, whichever one it was. So, yeah, when I was a kid, the sprinkler worked really well. It was fantastic. It was a really nice sprinkler system. But over the years, it failed, and then my mom and my siblings that were living here never got it fixed while I was gone for those few years. So then, it was just a lot of headache whenever I came back. But somehow or another, it was leaking, and yeah, it was supremely not fun. But hey, glad you're here. Thanks y'all for showing up. So if you have anything you want to talk about tonight, any questions, any cool gee whiz things, I spent about 4 hours last night playing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Zombies. So that was fun. And then I was like, wow, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, I played it for a really long time. And the unnamed review guy, hey, thanks for stopping by. Sidu Benny, 1993. Yeah, so this house was built in like 1978. We were not the original owners, of course, and we moved in like 93. So we've had this house for a while. And actually, nice thing is I'll have this house paid off in like another 2 years. So, woo, no more house payment. But maybe I can get another sprinkler system put in. But really, I mean, the guy that owned this house before us, he owned a lawn maintenance company, so like it was immaculate, and we kept it up for years and years and years until like my older brother and I both got up and moved out. Like we both joined the military, we were older, so my younger sibling, I guess, was lazier than I was and just didn't care about the yard. So I'll put that on him. So I don't know if y'all got anything to drink or eat or whatever y'all doing tonight. Let me hit this. Seems like having some autofocus issues there. Have my 5% real juice sparkling water to drink that tonight. So this ought to be tasty. I had some chilies for dinner. Got me some chicken crispers and some corn on the cob, salad, french fries, all that good stuff. But I love being able to order their stuff and pick it up and have it brought here. Well, my wife has to go get it. Do you have plans to buy the PlayStation 5? So I do have the PlayStation 5. And I talked about this briefly in the live stream that I did last night. So I happened to luck out. And here's the story. So the PlayStation 5, really hard to get. And like I knew Amazon was going to have some. I knew that Best Buy was going to have some possibly. Target and a couple other places. So I tried it like 11 p.m. I tried it like midnight. And I lucked out with my Xbox Series X. And I was sitting there after midnight and none showed up. I'm like, well, maybe they're just trying to throw the bots off. It's based off of local inventory, blah, 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 all that good stuff. So I waited around, and then at like 12:40 in the morning, magically they popped up. So I was able to get an Xbox Series X and a Series S for my kids. Fast forward to 2 days later, they had the PlayStation 5. And I tried and I tried and I tried, and I guess the bots and everybody else figured out that they launched at 12:40 over on the Target website. So I waited till 12:40. I told some other friends of mine, hey, 12:40. They went live, and I had one in my cart, and I tried for like 30 minutes, and it just would not process my transaction. It kept saying, try again, try again, try again. So I ended up being disheartened, and I didn't get one. And then I went and I laid down. I was playing on my phone after I got in with the review. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like I was up super late that night. And right before I went to bed, I grabbed my phone, and I hadn't used the browser in so many hours. It populated the browser again, and it was on Target. And it's like, there's one available at the store down the street from you. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's one available. So I hopped on there. I tried to buy it. It's like, can't add to cart. It's not there. I'm like, okay, well, shoot, let me try again. And I kept refreshing. I thought maybe somebody's payment didn't go through or whatever. But it showed that there was some at other stores, and but you couldn't buy any of them. It's like limited inventory, in store. So I tried, over and over, and then like every couple of minutes one would pop up at like North Houston, East Houston, West Houston, downtown area, and I would add it to my cart. I would go to try and check out, and as soon as I would try to check out, it would say, sorry, item not available. So the last time I got that message again, and I tried like 4 or 5 times, and then I got this thing that said, your payment's been processed, your order is being processed. So I was like, what? Okay, so cool. I totally didn't think that I got it. I thought that it was just going to, like, the next morning get an email that's saying, hey, sorry, you didn't get it. I woke up and had an email that said, hey, your order's ready. Come pick it up at the store. So that's how I ended up getting the PlayStation 5, and my kids have been playing the ever-loving heck out of it, and I got them that Spider-Man game. And it's kind of annoying because I really do like the PlayStation. Like, I like it a lot. Like, I didn't care for the PlayStation 4 was okay. I didn't like the PlayStation 3. I didn't like the PlayStation 2. The original PlayStation didn't care for much. So I had mixed feelings about this one, and I was like, okay, the kids want it. I'm going to get it for them because they really love PlayStation. And I fell in love with that control. Like, the controller is really, really sweet. It's so nice, and I haven't gotten my hands back on it since my kids took it, like, yesterday or day before yesterday, whatever in the world it was. So I haven't got to play with it much since then, but I had a lot of fun with it for like an hour after I set it up. William Kingston, I was doing plans on what if my Key 1 craps out before the BlackBerry 5G comes out. After watching, I would jump on your Alcatel Go Flip 3 based on your review. Man, that would be tough. Not to say that the Alcatel Go Flip 3 is not a good phone. I mean, I think it is a very good phone, and I think it's probably the best flip phone out there, and I think it's a great phone for a lot of people, but I couldn't do that personally. I mean, if you think you can do it, then go for it, and more power to you, but figure out whether you like it or not while it's in the while it's in the return period, because that would be hard for me to switch from like a BlackBerry Key 1 to a phone that has just numbers on it. So, yeah, hopefully your Key 1 holds out. Why PlayStation 5 seems to be more popular than Xbox? I think just because of the innovation. Like, this go around, like, okay, underneath the hood, these things are computers. That's what they are. They just have their own user interface. They have their own software. They run their games on them. So when you look at the Xbox Series X and Series S, it's basically just more of the same. Like, the controller, they added like one whole button, and they textured like the back on the bottom of it. So it's nicer and more pleasant to hold on to and grip. There's also, I think, a little bit of texture on the trigger. Like, it's the best Xbox controller I've ever had, but there really is no innovation with it. Like, it looks and feels the same for like 95% of it. And then you look at the PlayStation, and they actually made it look kind of cool and nice. And there's like LED lights on each side of the controller by the touchpad. It has adaptive triggers on it. So based off of the experience you're doing, it changes, I guess, the resistance. I mean, they put a lot of work. I mean, it may be broken in 6 months, who knows? But they put a lot of work into really innovating the controllers. And I think a lot of people really don't like the PlayStation controllers. And I may be overstating that, but I hate them. I have never liked the original PlayStation. I've never liked the DualShock controllers. Never liked them. And from the moment I picked up this new controller, like, I was hooked. This is one of the best controllers I have ever held or used in my life. So I love that. So I think it just comes down to that. And also the storage for the PlayStation, even though it is less baseline storage than the Xbox Series X, you can add additional storage that is third party. Like with Microsoft, you got to pay like the $230 to add that extra 1 gigabyte of storage. But if you get a PlayStation, you can just pick up whatever brand you want and throw it on there, and it should work. So yeah, it has lower baseline storage, but there's more flexibility there, and I think there's just more creativity, and people, I think, are looking for that right now. Like, gaming has been bland for a little while, so I think that PlayStation kind of going out of their way and being creative and innovative, I think that that's going to be win big for them this time. Let me see. Questions. PlayStation 5 launch was hell, somehow worse. Yeah, it was terrible. Especially the pre-orders. Like, I tried when they had the pre-orders go available the first time, and it was just madness. The bots are utterly destroying everything. Augustine Harrow, hey, from Tucumán, Argentina. Glad to have you here in the TechOdyssey live stream. How is the PlayStation 5? I like it a lot. They've sharpened up the user interface. It runs like a dream, and that's the thing that for both of them, whether the Xbox or the PlayStation, they are super smooth. They're super fast, so I like that. William Kingston, my first phone was a Motorola C650. That's a long time ago. Steve Vetts, hey, glad you could make it tonight. I'm sorry about yesterday. Yesterday was, I'm still trying to figure out how often I want to do this streaming thing. Once I'm unemployed on January 1st, I'll probably be streaming like 2 or 3 days a week reliably. With what's going on now, yesterday, normally I've done a Friday night live stream historically, even though a lot of people don't really show up. But I decided to go ahead and do one anyway and scheduled one and set it up for tonight. So that's why I'm here tonight. I'm going to try and start doing every Saturday night. Fridays will be contingent on how everything else goes. And Greggles TV came for the berries. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by for the berries. And for all of you who don't know who that is, Greggles TV is a good friend of mine. Go check him out on YouTube as well, especially if you like Samsung stuff. He is the master of Samsung. I can't talk and type at the same time. There you go. Go check him out. Not right now. Click on that later after the show's over. New controller looks awesome. Yeah, the controller looks fantastic. I love it a lot. And if I weren't so lazy and all my kids weren't in the pool right now, like, I would totally have one of them come bring it to me and show it off. Like, maybe I'm going to make a video. Some of you guys may care about it. Some of you may not. I'm going to make a video about the new controllers and talk about them. So we'll do that. Maybe I'll even make it a live stream. I don't know. But I'm going to talk about the controllers coming up. Came for some 5G peaks. I don't know what that means. And you can vacuum it out. Has a vacuum port. How Japanese? There's a vacuum port on the controller. That's news to me. Let me see. Good evening. Any chance of BlackBerry passport? Well, I mean, I have a BlackBerry passport. I don't think the new phone that's coming out is going to be a BlackBerry passport. Honestly, looking at all the different form factors, like, I really don't think it's going to be a slider. I think it's going to be some sort of a nod to maybe the Classic or the 8800, and then maybe a little bit larger, kind of like the Passport, but maybe not that large. I think that there's a happy medium between like the Classic and the Passport, where I think that would be the winning ticket. I mean, I didn't really like typing on the Passport keyboard. It was large buttons and kind of stretched out on the console, not the controller. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about a vacuum port Revolt. But I mean, if there is one, that's really cool. Am I planning on buying the iPhone 12 mini, which it would be nice if called the iPhone SE 3rd Gen? Yeah, I don't really think that they're going to do that. I think that this one's probably going to be what it is for a while. Like, I don't think there's going to be a lot of... I think that there's not going to be a mini every year. I think the mini will kind of be like the SE, or maybe it will take over since they're kind of like moving away from the buttons. So, yeah, I think that it's a nice phone. The only problem I have with it is the battery life. And I've got a buddy of mine, Mark's Tech, and he's using one. And he was like, good gosh, after 45 minutes, the battery was down to like 80%. So I don't think it's for me. I think that for some people it will work. I think that Apple or somebody is going to have to make, or Mophie, whoever is going to have to make a battery case for that thing. With the amount of power that it has inside of it, and then the size of the battery, like, I don't expect it to really get much better battery life than the iPhone SE 2020 edition, which I got about 4 to like maybe max 5 hours of screen on time, but typically about 4.5. And I thought that was fine for an 1821 milliamp battery. But I don't even know what size the battery is on this one. And I was originally intrigued by it. But the problem that I have with it is that it costs so much money. Like, that tiny phone is $699. Like, I would recommend somebody go get the iPhone SE 2020 edition for $399 instead of pay $699 for that, because you're going to get like 99% of the same experience. It just has the Touch ID on there. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But no, I'm not planning on picking one up. I did get the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which I have right here. And then I also have the iPhone 12. So I'm going to do some comparison content and stuff on that. But at $699, that phone just rubs me the wrong way. Let me catch up with some of the stuff here. Sorry, I meant new 5G BlackBerry goodness. So I don't have any new information on the upcoming 5G BlackBerry. I'm still waiting. I asked at the beginning of this last week, I believe. I reached out to Onward Mobility to send them some questions over, and hopefully set up a time to do another live stream with Peter Franklin, who's the CEO of Onward Mobility. But they have not gotten back with me yet. So if I haven't heard anything by the end of this next week, then I'll ping them and see. Because I think that probably in the near future we'll find some more information out about them. I have a hunch it can be something like the Z30. Augustine, yeah, so the thing is, they've already said it's going to have a physical keyboard on it, so I don't think it's going to be like the Z30. But I totally love the Z30, and I could totally get behind them making a smaller form factor, all touchscreen phone. Like, the Z30 was solid. Like, if they made a Z30 type phone that had updated internals and specs and everything, I mean, look at what Apple has just done. Clearly, not everybody wants 7-inch phones, 6-inch phones. Like, not everybody wants a phone this big. I mean, albeit, yes, they have amazing cameras and they have great screen real estate on them, but not everybody wants that. So, yeah, if BlackBerry were to make a second phone and to make it an all touchscreen phone with a smaller screen, I mean, I think that could do well too. Knowing Apple, I think there will be a new Mini, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, maybe there will be. I think that right now they're trying to expand their footprint to more than just because, a long time ago they had one model, and then everyone's like, they need a bigger screen, and like 2 or 3 years later, yeah, they finally came out with the bigger screen. And then they had the Plus model and the normal model, and then they went to the 8 and the 8 Plus, and then they came out with the 10, which was all touchscreen, no touch buttons. But then they kind of kept that home button around in the lineup for a little while. So I think that this year, I think next year, or probably the year after next, you might see them go ahead and phase out the SE 2020. I think their goal is to go to all touchscreen phones with no buttons. I think they're just trying to make some people happy and keep them from leaving the ecosphere for now. Does the AT&T still support unlocked BlackBerry Passport? I believe that it does. I think you can still use that on there. I think you'll be able to for like another 2 years. I don't think that AT&T is shutting off their 4G, 3G networks until 2022. T-Mobile is shutting theirs off January 1st of 2021. So I think that you'll still be able to use the Passport on there for a little while longer if you choose to. Nice casing on the phone. So, okay, this one right here. This one is the UAG Outback series case. It's actually a new case that they have, and it very closely resembles the Apple silicone case. I mean, the shades are very, very similar as well, but it's a hard shell case. It's nice and protective. It's not the silicone one. I do really like this case a lot. It doesn't add a lot of heft. It's not real thick. The profile, I mean, it works really, really well with it. So, the only thing I don't like is the power button, and the volume rockers require like 25 pounds of finger pressure to actually use them. I don't know what they were thinking, and I'm hoping that it gets better over time, but the buttons on this are utter trash. But I love the case other than that. Let me see. Stuff going on here. Thomas Kerr, Porsche style keyboard. You know, I've been using the BlackBerry Porsche P9983 as my secondary phone for the last couple of days since I got it. And this keyboard is a complete and utter dream. Like, it is probably the best BlackBerry keyboard I have ever typed on. These keys, the tactility, the feedback, the responsiveness, it is an amazing keyboard. And if you weren't here last night, so I actually used this phone last night for a WhatsApp call. I have never used WhatsApp in my life, and I had to talk to somebody in China about a product that I'm reviewing right now because they wanted to go over some things, and I'm going to get them to send me something else. So if any of y'all are interested, I'm trying to get them to send me a treadmill, not just because I'm fat and I need to run, but because I legitimately want to test it out, because with everybody being stuck at home right now, you can't go to the gym, you can't go out and do your physical activities. It's getting closer to winter. So I asked them, because it's the Mobvoi people, the guys that made the TicWatch 3 Pro that I reviewed, or Pro 3, whatever the number is, and they actually have a treadmill. So I was like, hey, will you guys send a treadmill? They're like, yeah, if we've got one in the U.S. at our warehouse, we'll send it to you. But I talked to the guy in China last night on this, using WhatsApp, using the video call on it, and it worked out. I mean, I never used it before. I just, installed it and tested it out so I could make the video before, but hey, it worked. I wish I had more people to talk to on here, because I end up I talk to people a lot on like Twitter and through email and a lot of stuff. So Google Hangout, so I can't really use that stuff on there, but hey, WhatsApp still works. Is there a possibility that the Key 3 presented in the future? So the Key 3 would have been under the licensing agreement to BlackBerry Mobile, and since they're gone now, I would say that we will not see a Key 3. But effectively, you will see what would be the successor to the Key 3, because it will be the new phone, but it will have a different name. They can't use the Key name, I'm sure, because that was part of the licensing agreement and licensing agreement and naming strategy from TCL. So I would expect it to have some other name. Buttons are evil. Buttons are not evil. Buttons are your friends. Give me a 5.5-inch screen and I'll be happy. Truth be told, I was thinking to begin to collect phones. It's risky. Yeah. I've never bought anything off AliExpress, and I don't know which ones you're looking at into collecting. But yeah, collecting phones is cool. I mean, I collect Blackberry. I've got a whole bunch of them. To be honest, 2021 Q3, Q4, 5.5-inch. Yeah, I'm about to see what happens. BlackBerry passports work on all Canadian carriers. That doesn't surprise me. 5.5 SE and 4.7 SE3 is rumored. Hey, we'll just have to see what happens. I know they were talking about an SE Plus before, and if they brought out an SE Plus, like, I would totally be behind that, because I really like Touch ID, especially now whenever I keep going out places and have my mask on and Face ID does not work. So I had really hoped that they were going to do like they did with the iPad Air and incorporate the fingerprint sensor into the power button. That would have been really nice. And then that was a huge disappointment that they didn't do that. So yeah, very annoying. But yeah, there was rumor that there was going to be an SE Plus, with the 5.5 inch screen. And if it is, I will totally buy it and I will test it out and I will review it for you guys. William Kingston, going to keep my fingers crossed. That's a delicious blue. Yeah, these blue colors look really, really nice. And let me go ahead and take the case off of here real quick, and I'll let you guys see some of this stuff up close and personal. This Pacific blue color actually looks really nice. And then depending on whether it's white light, if it's white light, it looks more gray. But if it's yellow light, like I have now, it looks more blue. Like, I'll go ahead and turn on my other light, which is going to flood this out with more white light. But it looks less blue whenever there's more white light. But overall, I think that it's a really sharp looking phone. My only complaint, and I knew this going into it, is that it is heavy. It is a heavy phone. It is a hair lighter than the iPhone 11 Pro Max, but it is still not a light phone. It's definitely heavy. Do not drop this thing on your face when you're trying to sleep. That would end poorly. Let me see here. Here, I'll put these side by side. So this is the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro Max side by side. So you get an opportunity to see these. Yeah, and I like both of them. I was really worried I wasn't going to like either of the blue colors, and I ended up liking both of them. So I do like that. Digital Slang, what is up? And Digital Slang, today is his birthday, so happy birthday to you, buddy. And I'm going to try and make your stream later. Can you tell me what time it is, Central Standard Time, so I can look at my clock to try and be there? Because as soon as I get done with this live stream, I'm going to be laid up on my heating pad in bed, because I hurt. Does anyone have a BlackBerry Passport Silver for sale? I don't know. Mine is not for sale. I'm keeping it. So just look around. I saw one or two on eBay the other day, and since there has been an announcement that there's going to be a new BlackBerry, some of the BlackBerry prices have dropped. I actually have my eyes on a BlackBerry Classic right now. It's a blue one that's open box, but it's never been used, and they want like $300 for it. The problem I have with it, like, I totally love my BlackBerry 10 devices. BlackBerry 10 is my absolute favorite. The problem I have is I use T-Mobile as a phone carrier, and more than likely, once January 1st gets here, I'm not going to be able to use any of them anymore. So I'm going to have a secondary phone line that runs off of AT&T, so I can do that. And I have that right now with Red Pocket Mobile because it's using their network. So that's fine, but eventually, one day, these phones, since they don't use voice over LTE, will be obsolete, and that's problematic. And finally opening up my drink here. Yeah, so we got 33 people in the stream right now, which is fantastic. Thank you all who are here who stopped by for the Saturday Night Live show. Not Saturday Night Live, but just Saturday Night Live stream, live show, whatever you want to call it. If y'all are having a good time, hit the like button. And if you're not a subscriber already, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get updates when new videos come out. And also, channel memberships are available now, which is, fantastic if you want extra, exposure that way to the TechOdyssey channel. And then super chats are always appreciated as well. I got some stuff to catch up on here. Do you think they will do an iPhone 13 or have a new name for it like the X, or skip it completely like the 9? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how superstitious those guys are. Like, hey, would they skip 13 because 13 is unlucky? I don't know that. They did skip the 9, which was very, very weird to me why they did that in the first place, but whatever. I'd like to see them move to something else. I just want them to, I've been saying this for forever. I just want them to call it the iPhone. When you look at the MacBook Pro, when you look at the iPad, they don't say iPad 14, iPad 13. They just call it the iPad 2020, the iPad 2019. They've got the model number or whatever, but affectionately known as the 2020 model, 2019 model, whatever, even though it's Gen 3, Gen 4, whatever. But when you look at the MacBook Pro, they call them by the year. It's the 2020 MacBook Pro 13-inch, the 2019 MacBook Pro 16-inch. I would like them to just call it the iPhone Pro, the iPhone Pro Max. I don't think that's going to confuse too many people, especially when they come out with a new one every year, and you just have to say it's this model. when I go get my car, like, I'm not confused. It's an F-150. It's a 2020 model F-150. I think that they can do that very comfortably, especially with, you know, the notoriety they have. So, and all the education that they would do anyway. Why can't phones be dual SIM? American service providers like for backup. So, I mean, some phones, usually the unlocked ones, are dual SIM. Even there are some that are normally dual SIM unlocked, but the carrier models are not. Like when I got my OnePlus 8, it was a dual SIM phone, but if you bought it from T-Mobile, it had the one SIM card SIM tray. The other SIM tray was deleted out, and you couldn't put one in there. So it's really, in the United States, it's more carrier driven than it is, I think, the manufacturer. Yeah, so James Bechtold joined Cricket. Yeah, so Cricket uses AT&T's networks, and the Pocket Red Pocket Mobile I'm using also uses the AT&T tower, so they're really kind of the same thing. But yeah, Wise Concepts 13 doesn't sound good. Yeah, I really want them to move away from it. And I think that there's going to be a lot of jokes, a lot of memes, and a lot of things if they do have like an iPhone Series 13. So we'll see. Pretty sure no, because of 22 they will stop support. Yeah, that's the thing. The 2G, 3G, and the 4G underlying networks here in the United States by 2022 or 2023, they're all going to be gone. So there is a reality that those of us using BlackBerry 10 are going to have to face once that happens, and you might have to migrate networks between now and then. And yes, Digital Sling does have a good point. Some phones do have eSIM as well now. Like, I believe the Pixel 5 has eSIM. The new iPhone 12s have eSIM. I think the first iPhones to get eSIM were the iPhone 11 Pro Max and 11 Pro series last year. Maybe even the regular iPhone 11. But thanks for bringing that up. I was thinking about that while I was talking about the SIM cards, but it escaped me. Why didn't Apple make an iPhone 9? I don't know. I want to say that they probably followed suit with Samsung, since Samsung also... Well, no, Samsung did the 9. They skipped the... what did they skip? They skipped the Note 6. But iPhone had a 6. So I don't know. I don't really know why they did it, to be honest. I'm sure somebody can write a book about that one day, but I don't know. Classic or Q10 for my first ever BlackBerry in 2021. I love the size of the Q10, but I feel like I want the... Yeah, so if you're going to buy one right now and it's going to be your first one ever, hopefully it works for you. It is going to be limited. Please make sure you go watch the video I made on how to fix BlackBerry World. That way you can get access to some of the apps. Because if you try to get a new one and use it, BlackBerry World will not work. Albeit there's not a whole lot there anymore. You can get stuff through the Amazon App Store, and you can also get the Android files and install them, which is what I do for most of the apps that I use. F-150, where tree... Funny. Let me see here. Every carrier has those things. Launch a phone with one SIM. It's simple. Yeah. So, and like I mentioned a minute ago, and Digital Slang was saying, a lot of them do have the eSIM capability for a lot of the newer ones now. So that's it. A frequency thing in 2022. Yeah. So other places in the world, it may not be an issue. Here in the United States, they're shutting off like the 2G, 3G, and 4G. It's going to be all LTE and 5G with these companies. So like T-Mobile, starting in 2021, will be only LTE and 5G. And then AT&T will follow in 2022. Never used a BlackBerry, will love to try one. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I mean, even if you were to pick one up, I mean, you can get some of them like a Q10 or a Classic for like $30-$40 in a lot of cases on eBay if you just want to play with one. Somebody was asking me something here a second ago. BlackBerry World will die in 2022 as well, right? Yes. So BlackBerry 10 will no longer be supported after 2022, I believe. And I guess that means they're probably going to shut down BlackBerry World. So basically, whatever configuration your phone is in and has access to the BlackBerry apps at that time will be all you're ever going to have access to. But here's the thing. If you're like me and you know how to sideload the apps, as long as you have the installation files, you don't really need BlackBerry World. And there's not much in there anyway. So One, just don't ever have to factory reset your phone. But there used to be places and like a bunch of websites you could go to that would have the bar files .bar, which is the the application file, just like an APK on Android. Just like if you follow the steps that I showed you how to restore BlackBerry World, that's sideloading. If you get other apps, you can do the exact same process, and instead of selecting the BlackBerry World file, you select whatever the other bar file is, and it will install it right onto your phone, wirelessly over the air. So, yeah, just because BlackBerry World is going away doesn't mean that it is like the phone's going to be useless. But the problem in the United States is going to be that it won't be supported on the signals anymore. And I got to say a special shout out here to Blaine Johnson, good buddy of mine. Followed me over. We used to hang out and talk all the time on Slack with the Mobile Nations team. He was I think he was an ambassador for one of the different sites, maybe Android Central. But Blaine is a good guy. William Kingston, I believe you've been critical in the past of BlackBerry Hub and its performance. Mine's starting to lag badly. What alternatives do BlackBerry users use? So I use the native apps, and I have been critical of the Hub on Android because it's very handicapped. Like, it's not like the experience you got with BlackBerry 10 Lite. BlackBerry 10 was smooth, it worked great, it was integrated, and BlackBerry Hub on the BlackBerry mobile Android devices, and any Android BlackBerry device really, it feels handicapped and clunky. It is a huge resource hog. They didn't have enough memory with like the DTEC and the Priv series devices, and then they had the memory, but they didn't have the horsepower, or in some cases didn't have the memory or the horsepower with the BlackBerry mobile devices. Like, they wanted to try and leave that in there, but really it just doesn't work the same way, and it's always been so clunky for me and a huge resource hog. I have always just disabled it. I use like Yahoo, I use the Gmail app. I mean, whatever the native app is for my email, that's what I use. Michael Pepper, I think Apple skipped the 9. Yeah, and that has some logic to it, and I know people talked about that back in the day, and if y'all are not familiar with that, the iPhone 10 was launched at the same time as the iPhone 8. They came out at the same time, so there was debate, I guess, back then, but they called it the 10, even though it was an X. Of course, the Roman numeral X is a 10. So, and that was, I believe, for the 10th anniversary edition is what they were originally doing that for, the name, but also the big, style change and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I know they brought the X out at the same time as the 8, but I guess they just decided to move along with the new numerology and not go backwards, because it would be kind of confusing if you release an iPhone 8 and a 10 and then the next model is a 9. Like, that just wouldn't make sense. Had they just called the iPhone 10 like the anniversary edition and not the 10, then yeah, they probably could have continued with the numbers and moved to 9. But I don't think that it's really that critical to the history of the iPhones, but that is what it is. Do you know what's happening to Nokia? Is it the same thing BlackBerry's facing? So Nokia, they got picked up by HMD Global, and they've been making a lot of different phones. So I think that Nokia is okay, and I think that their phones, they're much more popular overseas than they are in the United States, even though the lower tier models, like the less expensive ones, find their ways inside like the Best Buy stores and stuff. But I think Nokia is okay. I actually bought stock in them a while back because with Huawei not being engaged in the installation and infrastructure for 5G in like Europe and the United States anymore, that left a big opening for Ericsson and also for Nokia. They're big on building the 5G infrastructure stuff. So I'm actually planning on Nokia doing well into the future. So we'll see what happens with them. Check out the Barry Reporters podcast. He's made it very clear it's not going to be the case, and it's going to be a flagship. What did I miss here? iPhone using rando letters like their chips. M14. Yeah, we'll just have to see. Pregash, for the 2021 BlackBerry, I know Peter Franklin said he wants affordability to be key as well, but do you think it would be a good price? What do you think would be a good price for the next BlackBerry phone? It's hard to say what I think would be a good price if I don't know what's going to be in it. And from talking to him and then also watching the podcast he did with BlackBerry Brad on the Barry Reporter, he very much, like, when he talked to me, he talked about like flagship quality, like camera, but didn't really go into like, at least not from my recollection, didn't really say it was going to be a flagship level device. Like, we talked about flagship quality camera, But I think that left it open to think maybe my impression was it could be like a 7 series processor. Then I hear him talking to BlackBerry Brad, and he seems to talk about they believe it's going to be a flagship. Two things we need to talk about here. What is a flagship? Well, a flagship is the best phone that they bring to market. So like the Pixel 5, even though the Pixel 4 and 4 XL are better, like the Pixel 5, since they discontinued the 4 and 4 XL, the Pixel 5 is the flagship phone for Pixel with Google. Whenever you look at the iPhone, the 12 series are the flagship series devices. There's just multiple of them. So like if you want to go with the traditional sense of the word, flagship just means the best. So if it's the only phone, clearly it's going to be the flagship of BlackBerry. But will it have traditionally flagship level specs the way we look at it in the rest of the smartphone market? I don't know. I hope so. Like if they come out with an 8 series processor, even if it's like an 865, man, I will be all over that. My biggest hope would be that it's a flagship level device. That would be amazing. I would pay $1,000 for it. But at the end of the day, they did talk about, yes, the price will be what it needs to be for the quality and the stuff that's in it, but it does need to be affordable. Like affordability is something that they are thinking about. So I think that the phone's probably going to come in around $699. Like if this phone's more than $749, I think that it's going to be a big turnoff for the market. I think $699 is even a bit to ask, but if they're going to put flagship quality specs in it, I'm perfectly happy with them charging that amount of money. And I think most BlackBerry enthusiasts would be anyway. Like 2 or 3 years ago, if we were talking about a $700 BlackBerry, I think that the conversation would be different. But since most phones now in the flagship tier are $900, $1,000, $1,100, $1,200, it's not hard to ask for $700. And I don't care really what the price is as long as it's reflective in the hardware. And like y'all know that I will be critical of it, even if it's a BlackBerry. If they come out with a BlackBerry and they're like trying to charge $800 and they put a Snapdragon 765 in it, I'll be like, look, I'm going to buy it because I'm a BlackBerry enthusiast, but I'm going to like give them crap because no, that's too much to ask people for that kind of stuff. Unless they're upfront. Look, if you're upfront and you say, look, we have to charge this because of margins, because the amount that we are able to make, because of our place in the market right now, and where we're trying to go, then yeah, I mean, I could understand that, but that would require transparency. If they just come out and they're like, we have arrived, here's our $800 phone, and it has crap specs in it, then yeah, I'm going to be critical of it. Will I still get one? Yes, because I love BlackBerry. TechOdyssey, do you have a good web link for APK files for BlackBerry 10? So I cannot guarantee what happens if you use this website for your APK files. That is a disclaimer. Do I use it personally? Yes. Have I been using it for years to download stuff? Yes. I will type it out here. Here, just type this out. Should be appsapk.com. And some of the more common ones that I use for BlackBerry 10, I like TechOdyssey. You can get WhatsApp. You can get like Angry Birds 2. You can get, there's just lots of stuff that you can get there. You can get Spotify still. But yeah, you just have to look around. Like all the ones that are on there are not geared towards working on BlackBerry 10. Some of them do though. Like Crossy Road works. I enjoy playing Crossy Road on there. So yeah, just go through, find ones that work. A lot of them will not work. Facebook Lite works. Facebook Messenger Lite also works on there. There's a lot of good stuff that you can get there. BlackBerry is not going to compete manufacturer-wise because Apple and Android got their hands in the pot. So look, the thing with Android and Apple is clearly they're the two large players in the world. But there are others. And look, as long as they can, like, look at Unihertz, for example. And BlackBerry, and I'm sure through this licensing agreement, they have way more money than a company like Unihertz does to bring the Titan to market. The important thing, here's what it is. When you have Samsung and you have all these other Android manufacturers and you have iPhone, do you know that the phones they charge you $1,000 for only cost them like $370 to make? I mean, don't quote me on that exact numbers, but their price margins are like $600. Yes, they have shipping and distribution and marketing costs, but they make a ton of money. Then you have a company like Unihertz that makes a $350 phone. Yeah, their profit margin might be like $60 or $70. But the game for BlackBerry is to get the phones back into people's hands. As long as they're making money, I'm sure they'll be okay. But I don't expect them to be making $400, $500, $600, $700 profit margins on these devices. So it's just a matter. It's a matter of economics. So you don't have to be. See, here's the thing. Here's how things used to work. You used to have to be a major player and have a major presence. But now these micro niche phones like the Unihertz, like the ProTech FX1, or some of these other devices that are being crowdfunded, there are other ways for 1 and 1 to make 2 than there used to be. So there is a pathway here through licensing agreements, through partnerships, limited liability, limited overhead, limited shelf space, they're limiting their risk and attacking this from a very, very smart business model, as opposed to just let's flood the market and hope people buy these phones. So I think that it's going to be fine. Anyway, sorry I went on a tangent there. Yeah, Jeff Neves or Revolt. I think personally flagships are going to stay around 1,000. Yeah, I don't see them dropping anytime in the near future. If anything, they may get more expensive because the more and more we buy these $1,000 phones, the more it tells them, hey, they're okay with this, so let's do it. Flappy Birds. that was a good one. I think my iPhone's broken. Assassinate Justin. I hope that it's not broken, and if it is, I'm sorry. Comments on Honor Watch. So here's the thing. Outside of the U.S., I mean, I think it's a good watch. I've heard good things about it. I saw one whenever I was at CES back in January, and they make some really good stuff. So, I mean, if you want one, I've heard good things about it. So, yeah, I mean, you can give it a whirl. Matthew Davis, I'm listening to this live stream on the Unihertz Titan. That's cool. And I actually had a Unihertz Titan. I made some videos about that, and I reached out to them recently, and this is just a tidbit of information for y'all. I didn't sign an NDA. I didn't tell them I wouldn't say anything, so I wanted to make some more Unihertz Titan content. So I asked them, I said, hey, will you send me one? They said, no, we're not going to send you one, but we'll send you the Titan 2 whenever it's out. So I asked them, I said, okay, well, when's the Titan 2 going to be out? And they're like, well, we'll give you more information later. But apparently there is a Titan 2 in the works, and we just don't know about it yet. And I think that's cool because if they can find ways to improve on the first Titan, I think that's great. And clearly, I do like keyboard phones, especially since, yeah, it does resemble BlackBerry. So I'm going to pick one of those up too whenever it comes out. Night Wraith, I am from England. It's 2 a.m. here, and I can tell you BlackBerry is dead here. Yeah. Well, welcome. Glad you're here from England. 2 a.m. I'm usually up at that hour, but it's a lot later for you then. Yeah, so BlackBerry is pretty much dead everywhere. There are like little pockets here and there. I know like India. I know it's still big in Indonesia. Some places in Africa, South America, but largely yes. In traditional sense of the modern world in most areas, yes, BlackBerry is dead. Especially BlackBerry 10. So it's just a matter of we'll see what happens with this new phone. Dignosis, or however you pronounce that, I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name. But how many BlackBerries are coming out for 2021? They have only announced one. I would not anticipate a second one in 2021. Maybe there will be one for 2022. I think it largely depends on how good the first one does. And Benny, again, I heard the Unihertz system is not as secure. It is not. And there are certain things on there that I don't necessarily trust because of you never know where your information or your data is being farmed or sent to. And there was an app suite on there that I think was questionable. But yeah, no, it's definitely not as secure as BlackBerry. And we have 80 people in the chat right now. So thank you all for stopping by here tonight and hanging out. And I said this a minute ago, but if you weren't here and if you're enjoying the live stream, please hit the like button. And if you're new here and you've never been by, welcome. And if you want to, hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you can get updates when new videos come out. And as always, the memberships are available and super chats are also always available as well. I appreciate it. 84 people. So, William Kingston, have you thought about trying or reviewing the FX Tech Pro 1? Interesting story. So those guys actually reached out to me. Like FX Tech emailed me and said, hey, we want you to take a look at our phone. Wow, 96 people. The big jump. So they reached out to me And they said, do you want to review our Pro 1? And I said, heck yeah, I want to review your Pro 1. I've got a lot of people asking me questions about this. And certainly I didn't want to spend like $700 on it. So I told them, yeah. And then I didn't hear anything back for like 2 weeks. And then I messaged them and I said, hey, are y'all going to send me this phone or not? In polite professional words. And they're like, well, we're having a trouble getting our loaner units back from other reviewers. So we don't have one to send you right now, but we will when we get one in. And then a couple weeks later, I emailed them back again, and I've just never heard back from them. So to answer your question, no, I'm likely not going to be reviewing the Pro 1, but I was supposed to briefly until they decided to quit talking to me and not send me one. Brad Richards, it's alive in Canada. That is great to hear. I mean, of course, with Waterloo, the headquarters, Canada is synonymous with BlackBerry and, vice versa. So I would expect that Canada would be the best and the longest holding stronghold for these phones until things change. And one of my questions, and I wrote this and sent it to Peter. One of the things I want to ask is, how are you going to convince people to leave BlackBerry 10 to come to this new phone? Like, what is your strategy for that? And then in the back of my mind, I realized the other day that starting in January and then probably the following January, most people won't have a choice and will have to get rid of their BlackBerry 10 devices because they don't support voice over LTE. I think the Z30, and the Passport might, but as far as I know, maybe even the Classic, but I don't think the Q10 and the Z10, I don't think that they do. So I kind of answered part of that question in my own mind, but we'll see. But I want to know, because there's a lot of people that don't like Android BlackBerries. I use them because that's what's available. But yeah, whenever they moved to the D-Tech series devices, like, I got mad and I left. I quit using. I sold my BlackBerry 10 phones that I had, and just hopped on ship with like Android and BlackBerry Android and iPhone because I thought they were kind of leaving us behind and kicking us out and leaving us on the curb. So I did get mad for a little while, and then I circled back around. Let me see. Phones nowadays just are so complex. I have to always be messing with something. Yeah, there is that. There are some days, like I'm sitting there like last night and just had to do like layer after layer after layer of things. And sometimes the stuff does, it gets frustrating. There's a lot going on, even though up front and it's all, at face value, just a slab phone. This one will get the newest and last one. I'll carry an iPhone 12, Samsung Note 30, and the BlackBerry. Yeah, that's a good combination there. And I have done that. I have been known to do that. I do have like 4 or 5 SIM cards. So I've definitely carried an Android, an Apple, and a BlackBerry all at the same time. Revolt, Peter is dying, 15-hour work days. He does look tired. Like, every time that I've seen him on the camera, or even when I talk to him, it's like, his body is there, but like a portion of his soul is like in bed somewhere. Like, I think he does need to get more sleep. So I hope that he is working tirelessly for BlackBerry so we can get the best phone experience possible. But I think he could go for a good night's sleep. And if he happens to watch this, Peter, I love you, but go to bed. Night Wraith, Revolt. Actually, yeah, the last one. Mostly it was teenagers smashing for BlackBerry doing BlackBerry Messenger. QNZ, do they think their models are Scrabble letters? Choose high score. That's funny. Apple uses esoteric knowledge, hence no 9. Night Wraith, I was one of them in 2010. Then okay, a lot of stuff. I have a Titan. I will buy a new BlackBerry or Titan 2, whichever comes first. So if I were a betting man, I would say the Titan 2 is going to come out before the new BlackBerry, but that's just me. Maybe it will or maybe it will not. We'll see what happens. I will get both of them. Brad Richards, I like the security on BlackBerry. Yeah, totally. I do love security, and BlackBerry is synonymous with that. Jeff Neves, go to bed, Peter. And I don't know what's up with this Joshua Thomas guy, but he's being really annoying. Boop. If I can make him go away. I need moderators. That's what I need. I need to set up moderators one day. He's in a timeout. No more stupid things. Yesterday, my BlackBerry died. The SIM card reader no longer reads the SIM card. That's terrible. I went back to the Motorola phone, the Fusion. I don't know the Motorola Fusion. Hopefully it works out. Yep, I can definitely understand waiting for the new one. Yep, I put him in a timeout. I'll just have to see if I can ban him. Yeah, Digital Sling, like you said down there, 95 people. So yeah, if you're in here, I mean, we're at 47 likes and have 97 people. So if you enjoy the show, then hit the like button. It helps out because, of course, it gets more visibility. People see the video and watch it, and then in turn, that's more support for the channel, so I can keep doing stuff like this. Someone discovered emojis. Revolt Night Race. Same me, the 9810 was super perfect for me. So I never actually had the 9810. Is 9810, that's the curve, right? Is that one of the curves? The torch. Yeah, that's right, the torch. 9900. So I didn't actually have a torch. I actually bought one a little while back because I wanted to take a look at it since I never had an opportunity to use one. I think when they first came out, they were exclusive to Verizon, and then I think they might have also got them on AT&T, and I was with T-Mobile, and I was also deployed when they came out. So I didn't ever get an opportunity to use one of those. And I had a buddy that had one, though, and he absolutely loved it. But here's the thing. So I bought one. I wanted to make a retro video about it because you know that I love all things BlackBerry. Hey, Canoopsy is here. Thank you very much, Sir Isaac, for stopping by. Hopefully your video today is doing fantastic. Love the thumbnail as always. Ferrari. Say Ferrari. Yeah, so, yeah, I always wanted the torch. I bought one. I bought it. It said that it was unlocked, brand new, just open box. And so it comes in the box. This thing looked like it had been used for like 3 years. And then when I went to go try and log into the sucker, it was locked. Someone had their account in there, and it was locked, and I couldn't use it. So, yeah, that was very, very frustrating. So I sent it back, and I just haven't gotten another one since then. But I do want to get one to try it out. I never got to try one of those phones, so that'd be cool. Jeff Neves, I'm so glad I'm old enough for Adult Swim time to kick the kids out of the internet. Adult Swim is fun. I used to watch a lot of Adult Swim. Mohammed, I'm trying to delete pictures. When I go to recently deleted, I try to delete them again, but it doesn't let me delete it from recently deleted anymore. What phone are you trying to use? Would an old BlackBerry still activate and work in 2020? So as long as it's one of the ones that doesn't require carrier activation like Verizon, if it's an unlocked one and it'll work on like T-Mobile or AT&T's network, you should just be able to put a SIM card in it. I mean, it should theoretically still work, but we got to see. Jeff Neves, someone replaced their phone with a stolen phone. Did you buy refurbished? It didn't say it was refurbished. It said it was new open box. And that sucker showed up, and it was disgusting. It had scratches all over it. I wrote the guy, and I'm like, hey, dude, this phone's not new. He said, yeah, it is. Sure, it's a new phone. And he did say that he had did the warranty replacement because there was something wrong with his old. I'm like, no, this is clearly not new. There are scuff marks all over it. The back of it is disgusting, and somebody's information is here, and I can't even use the phone. So I've had really, really bad luck with buying Blackberries on eBay, at least non-Black. Well, so with the BlackBerry 10 device with this Porsche one, this guy totally tried to screw me over. So I bought it, and whenever it showed up, I tried to get into the phone. It had somebody else's BlackBerry ID in the phone. Like, what the heck? So I ordered it. It said that it was new open box. He said somebody had used it for a couple of days and returned it. That's all the title said. It just said open box, BlackBerry Porsche P9983. And in the drop down, it said somebody used it for a couple of days and sent it back to me. Okay, cool. I ordered it. It shows up. I fire it up when I'm doing my unboxing video. It goes straight into the BlackBerry 10. It doesn't go into the setup. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. Maybe, sometimes I get devices that are like that. Maybe it was like a demo or something. I don't know. I go and I look, and somebody's BlackBerry ID is registered in there. I'm like, okay. So I send the guy an email. I'm like, hey, dude, this phone has somebody's BlackBerry ID in it. And he's like, oh, no, I said that, and it's as is, and you can't return it. I'm like, you didn't say that anywhere. It's not in the title. It's not in the description. Oh, no, it's in the full description, which if you look on a phone, there's the regular title, there's the short description, and then you have to click to open the larger one. I told him, I said, look, if this thing were locked to somebody's phone, that's kind of fundamental information somebody needs to know about buying a phone. It should be in the title. It should be in the main description, especially if you understand that people look at this on their phone, and when you look at it on your phone, it doesn't pull up the big description. So either way, fortunately, I know BlackBerry 10 better than this idiot. and the guy didn't protect his phone. He didn't do the BlackBerry Protect. So all I had to do was factory reset it, put my BlackBerry ID information in, and log in. So I didn't have any problems, but yeah, he totally tried to screw me over. Then I ordered that torch. It came in. It was used, not open box, and had somebody's stuff and locked in. I didn't even have the pin to get into it. And then I ordered that BlackBerry Classic that was supposed to be unlocked to AT&T, and it was locked. So yeah, Revolt, you really want me to get one of these 9810s? Yeah, I've never actually ordered anything from AliExpress before, but I mean, I'll look into it because I'm not batting 100 or even 1,000. Whenever it comes to eBay, I've had nothing but problems with buying Blackberries on eBay. Yeah, so I have no doubt that this other guy, I gave him a piece of my mind. I told him that he was not an honest salesman. I don't know. There we go. He's gone. Yeah, Swappa is more secure. The only problem is that it's hard to find a lot of different Blackberries. Like, there's a lot more on eBay than there is on Swappa. Like, I've really been wanting to get a Q5. Yeah, refurbished used to actually mean something, Augustin. Refurbished is okay if it's manufacturer refurbished. If it is user or seller refurbished, all that means is they brought it back in, they looked at it, and they put it back in the box with another power cable and a charger. So I have basically no confidence in anyone's user refurbished stuff. Deshaun Weary, are you a tech expert? No, I'm not a tech expert. I'm a tech reviewer extraordinaire. That's what I have in my thing anyway. But I don't consider myself an expert. I'm a big fan and enthusiast. I have never worked in any tech industry. I just use them all the time. I've been using them for years. I'm clearly addicted to cell phones and other electronics. So it's all from personal experience. And yeah, 114 people in here right now. So thanks a lot. Yes, you're welcome, Augustine. I remember refurbished was new battery. Yeah, refurbished actually used to mean something. Refurbished means that like they take it back in and essentially the manufacturer makes it like new again and then resells it. And that used to be something that had to do with usually like defects. Like if there was a bad battery, they would take it back in, they would replace the battery and then put it back out. It was like if there was something wrong with it, they would fix it and put it back on the shelf. So effectively it was like new. And generally you get like a 90-day warranty or something like that. But see, sellers started using the refurbished name, and they are not truly refurbished. It's just a false sense of security that people have when they buy something like that. So yeah, refurbished nowadays, unless it's manufacturer refurbished, I don't recommend it unless you're just unless you like playing games like roulette and hoping you get something good. Yes, shout out to all the legends in the stream. Yeah, lots of cool guys in here tonight. And thanks so much for everybody who stopped by. And again, I guess Saturday night is the best time for streaming because we're at 113 people in here right now. So thank you everyone who's here tonight. And I was going to stop at an hour, but there's so many people in here and my ibuprofen's kicked in, so I'm going to keep going. Luca, hey man, thanks for stopping by tonight. Amazon changed their naming to Renewed, yes. And I think that that's good. But see, if you have a big company like Amazon, I feel a lot more comfortable with them because if they say something is renewed, they give you 90 days, like no questions asked. You can send it back if there's something wrong with it. It's not like I buy it on eBay and it's seller refurbished and then you're stuck with it or they give you 15 days and they charge a restocking fee and all that stuff. Vacman, I love my passport, wouldn't let me view my security camera. Yeah, that's probably just because of the problem with not working with the Android apps that you need to do that. Augustine, Saturday I just got paid. Well, I'm glad that you got paid, so make the most of it. Maybe buy a BlackBerry. Let me see here. My ibuprofen kicked in. Yeah. I'm old and I'm beat up. And I spent entirely too much time out in my front yard today with a shovel and digging holes and moving mud and tearing up PVC pipe. So yeah, I felt like somebody took a 2x4 to my back earlier. So thank goodness for ibuprofen and my heating pad. I got an iPhone 4S the other day to compare to the new iPhone. Hey, that's cool. Maybe you can make a movie about that. I'm not make a movie. Make a video or review about that. And Johnny Yester, is that you from Mobile Nations? I haven't talked to you in forever. My BlackBerry Classic shows 4G LTE. Verizon, maybe it won't shut off. So here's the trick that you can test stuff out. If it does, here's what you need to do. If you're on 4G LTE, try making a phone call. If it stays on LTE, then that's usually a good sign that the voice over LTE works. Because typically with a 4G LTE phone, if you make a phone call and it doesn't have voice over LTE, it'll shut down to 4G, and then when you go back, it'll do the same thing. So that's usually a good way to find out. Hey, well, thanks a lot, Johnny. Hopefully you're still doing well. I haven't talked to you in forever. I got you in here tonight. Blaine's in here tonight. All I need is Carly to show up, and Joyce, and maybe Chak, some other people. Scott Viper, how are you tonight? I'm doing well. Hopefully you're doing well also. Good luck with Swappa. Yeah, so I've had largely good success with Swappa. I have had 2 phones that I've had to return before, because sometimes you'll find people, somehow they have an inside track with somebody who works at like a phone company, and what they'll do is they won't associate the IMEI with the payment plan, and then they'll sell it so it shows up like it's whitelisted, and then you check like a couple of weeks or a month later, and then magically it'll be associated with the phone with the phone plan. So, yeah, that's the only problem. So I had that happen with a new in-box iPhone 6 that I got for my wife a long time ago, and I had it happen with the Red phone. So I got the product Red phone, which is a complete dumpster fire. And honestly, they ought to sell that thing to the military for like a hand-to-hand combat weapon, because that sucker, it weighs like it weighs a ton. I mean, it's made out of metal. I mean, it's got like a Kevlar and metal body on it. Like it's got the grooves on the side so you can hold on to it. So I mean, you could use that for a blunt force object. And totally, Johnny. Yeah, thanks for being here, and it's good to catch up. I'll have to message you sometime. Best way though is just find me on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, then you can find me. And if any of y'all ever want to find me on Twitter, I'll type this here. There you go. There's my Twitter profile. So just DM me there. CH Gadgets. Hey, thanks for stopping in here tonight. Jack of all trades, soldier, lawyer, tech reviewer. Yeah, now I am largely whatever I need to be that saves me money, especially since I'll be unemployed January 1st. So it probably would have cost me at least $1,000 or $2,000 to have a plumber come out and fix this. And I've fixed a lot of water related stuff before. I've done some plumbing work, so it's not that I couldn't do it. It's just a matter of sacrificing my body to go out there and go do it, because I'll be hurting a lot for the next 2 days. But I did it, and it appears to be fixed, so that's the most important thing. I mean, I rebuilt my engine in my car before with like one of those Chilton manuals. Like I bought my cylinder heads had to be replaced. So I took it all the way down to the engine block and replaced the cylinder heads and rebuilt the engine. So not the engine block itself, but I did eventually have to get a new engine block. I had a 1993 Fox body LX, and I totally loved that car. I had it completely restored it, and I just didn't have room for it once my wife and I got married. So we had so many cars. Like we have our Suburban, we have my wife's old Mazda 2, I have my truck, we have her Tesla. So we just don't have room for 4 or 5 cars around anymore. So I went ahead and I sold it to my brother, who was nagging me about it for years, under contingency that he never sells it to anybody else. And if he wants to get rid of it, he has to sell it back to me. Let me see. William Kingston, I get that you're saying the keyboard is just not there anymore. All the new Blackberries aren't the same as even. Yeah, I mean, the keyboard experience is king when it comes to BlackBerry, and it's very synonymous with that. So I think that the keyboard is important, but they need to make it work. And clearly, the newer keyboards have not felt the same and have not held up the same as a lot of the older ones. Like I said, I got this BlackBerry Porsche model, and this keyboard is a dream. Like I wish that this were updated or worked at a point to where I could just use this all the time. That would make me insanely happy. Like I wish somebody would find a way to refresh BlackBerry 10. I would be on top of the world. Revolt. Yeah, I don't know what happened with your message there. It shows that it got retracted or that Google did something with it. But if it's something directly to me, then send it to me on Twitter or otherwise. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why it got scrubbed. Augustine, hey, thanks for following me. I've never tried out CBD before. I do I do take a lot of ibuprofen, so that's fun. I've been taking that stuff for years. They call it vitamin M in the military because, Motrin, and they give it out for everything. I think I first started taking ibuprofen 800 when I was deployed to Iraq in 2006. And I was in the gym, and actually I have a bad left shoulder. I was in the gym, and I was bench pressing dumbbells. I was bench pressing the 95-pound dumbbells, like 95 pounds in each arm. And I went up on my third set, and I was on like rep number 7 or rep number 8, and my spotter was just sitting there joking and having a good time and talking to somebody, and my left arm gave out, and the 95-pound dumbbell landed right on my shoulder. So I've had shoulder problems since then, and I also have 3 herniated discs in my neck, so that's not good either. But which I also messed up in the military, so. Which is why they medically retired me in 2017. So I'm coming up on my 3-year mark of being retired from the military. But I did 16 and a half years before that happened. Yeah, I used to really enjoy lifting weights. I can't do it anymore, and I'm not allowed to run anymore. But I can walk fast. And that's one of the reasons why I want to get the treadmill to review too, is because I can use that here, especially whenever it gets cold. It's kind of hateful to go outside whenever it's windy and rainy and cold to go walk. At least if you're running, you can warm up your body temperature. So, there is that. But I definitely missed the gym. Prior to all this stuff happening at the beginning of this year, like our whole family, we would go to the gym like 3 or 4 days a week, and we loved it. And I was still in decent shape then, but this year, that's gone the way of the dodo. Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, definitely. I get that checked like twice a year. So Sean Power. I hope that Elon Musk develops some sort of an exosuit. That would be amazing. Matthew Davis. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I really enjoyed being in the military. And I posted a bunch of pictures the other day. I mean, I deployed 3 times. I went to Oman, thumb rate Oman, in 2002, right after I got out of tech school. I actually enlisted in July of 2001, July 25th, 2001, just shortly before September the 11th happened. And, it was funny. So if you want to hear a story that's not tech related. But, so I signed up to go into security forces. And it was funny because my dad worked out at the base, and so did my brother at the time. He was actually the security forces military police commander, but he had orders to go somewhere else, so they allowed me to go ahead and sign up because, of course, I couldn't serve under my dad, him being my commander. And my brother he worked on the airplanes. So I enlisted, and it was funny because they took me around the base. I mean, I scored high enough on the ASVAB. I got like an 80, which was good. I mean, I could do any job I really wanted to. But yeah, they took me around. They showed me avionics. They showed me the crew chiefs. They showed me electronics. They showed me services, like all sorts of these different things. And like none of those really appealed to me. Like I like to be outside. So they're like, well, I was like, what else is left? And the lady's like, well, I showed you all the jobs that we have. And she's like, well, I mean, I said, there's nothing else. And so she said, well, we have security forces. And I said, well, I know my dad does that, but what's that? And they're like, well, those are the guys that drive the police trucks. They have a badge. They wear a beret. You mean I don't have to wear that stupid hat? They're like, yeah, you get to wear a beret all the time. I'm like, okay, well, I can get jiggy with that. And then I was like, what else? They're like, well, they carry weapons. And I'm like, hold the phone here. Like, everybody doesn't carry weapons in the Air Force? They're like, no, only security forces. So you're telling me all these people that work here on the base, they just show up and wear a uniform, but they don't carry guns? Like, no, this is the Air Force. So I said, okay, I'm going to do security forces. And they're like, but you only need a 31 on the ASVAB to do that job. You got an 80. You can do any job you want. And I said, look, lady, I'm not going to be in the military and not carry a weapon. I mean, I don't know what kind of military you're in. And look, I get it. I mean, that was just me at 17 years old. I mean, I understand there are different jobs, different roles, different things that people do. But, I mean, that's what I wanted to do. So if you're going to join the military, do what you want. So I did that. And then September 11th happened shortly after that. And then they were so backed up with sending people to, do I love or hate him? Like, look, the guy's the president. So, I mean, he's in the office and there's been an election. So I'm not here to talk about politics stuff. So anyway, yeah, they were like, okay, well, we'll get you a basic training date in a couple of months. And then September 11th happened. Everything was like super, super busy. They were like, everything was locked down. So, they're like, look, call us back next week, and we'll see if we can find out when you're going to go. And they're like, look, everything's so backed up, it's probably not going to be till like January. So I was like, okay, shoot, I guess I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So I woke up the morning of October 1st and to a phone call, and like I was already had stuff scheduled for that day. I used to mow lawns back then. I mowed like 12 lawns a week to pay for my school, and so I could my insurance to drive back and forth to school because I was going to community college. And I get a phone call, and October 1st was my girlfriend's birthday, and we've been together for a couple of years then. And I had plans that evening to go out with her for her birthday. So I was like, I'm going to get up and mow my yards. I'm going to do all this stuff, wait for her to get off work, then we're going to go out. So I get a phone call like 8 o'clock in the morning on October 1st. And it was my recruiter. And she's like, hey, it's like, I've got some good news. I'm like, oh, great. She's like, well, do you want the good news or the bad news? I'm like, okay, well, go ahead and give me the good news. And she says, okay, well, I got you a school date and to go to basic training. I said, okay, well, that's good news. What's the bad news? And then the bad news, she says, well, can you leave tomorrow? I'm like, what? Leave tomorrow? Like, yeah. So there was somebody that dropped out that was supposed to go to basic training. They ended up getting like, the flu or pneumonia or something like that. They couldn't go. There's this one spot. I got to know now if you can go. And I'm like, tomorrow. Like, yeah. I was like, what time? Like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, it's 8 o'clock. Like, this is 20 hours notice, lady. And she's like, yeah, I know. That was the bad news. I'm like, well, if I don't take this slot, when can I go? And she said, well, it's probably going to be January. I'm like, all right, we'll put my name on the hat. I'll be there at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I got up and I go walk in the kitchen and I tell my mom, I'm like, hey, I've got some bad news, or I got some good news. She's like, what? I'm like, oh, they finally got me a school date. She's like, oh, when are you going to go? January, February? I'm like, I'm leaving in the morning. So she wasn't too happy about that. And then that started a long series of, hey, I'm going somewhere and, I'm going to be gone for a while. So I went to basic training. I came back because they didn't have it lined up. So I came home for a couple of months. They actually used me as an augmentee. So I was doing military police stuff until I left. I went to tech school in February. And then in April, I graduated. And then it's funny. So we used to have a barber on the base. And I went out there to go get a haircut on like a Friday morning or something. And my chief calls me and he's like, hey, Adams, like, come talk to me in the office. I'm like, okay, cool. So I drove over there and I was like, his name was Steve. I was like, hey, Steve, what's going on? And he says, hey, how do you feel about going on vacation? I'm like, well, last time I checked, the military doesn't send people on vacation. So I'm guessing you probably want me to go deploy somewhere. And they're like, yeah. So we had a guy, he was at desert warfare training. He injured his shoulder. They're leaving in 4 days. Do you want to go? And I'm like, where? I was like, well, I can't tell you where we're going. I'm like, okay. Yeah, sure. Sign me up. So then I went and I did that. So I go home, and my mom, I lived at home back then, and I come home, and I had gotten my hair cut, and she's like, I go talk to her, and I'm like, hey, so I was on the base, and Steve called me. He's like, oh, what did Steve want? Because she knew him because my dad worked there for years. And I'm like, well, he wanted me to come talk to him in his office and ask me if I wanted to go on vacation. She's like, what are you talking about, vacation? There's no such thing as military vacation. It's like, well, yeah, there was a deployment and somebody got injured and they need me to go. So I'm leaving in 4 days. So, 4 days later, I was on a plane flying to Oman for my first deployment. So, yeah, I did that in 2002. I went to Baghdad International Airport for 6 months in 2006. I went to New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina. I was here for Hurricane Ike. I was here for Hurricane Harvey. I was here for Rita, all sorts of other ones. I went to Kyrgyzstan for about 8 months back in 2010 because my genius brother-in-law decided that he was also going to join the military. And then, he was married to my sister, and they were expecting a baby, and he had just got out of tech school. So she was like, please go keep an eye on him. Like, fine, whatever. So I went on my last deployment to keep an eye on my brother-in-law, so he didn't get in trouble while he was gone. But that was my last hurrah. Let me see. Let me catch up with some of this stuff. So, see, James, dual service, Army Aviation, F-16. Oh, cool. Yeah, I knew a lot of crew chiefs. My brother, he did avionics work for a long time, so I knew all those guys. Admin, I just tried making a phone call, BlackBerry Classic, continue to say LTE. So, yeah, I think you should be good to go. That's usually an indicator that voice over LTE works. Luca, exactly, this is a tech place. Yeah, so I'm here to talk about tech stuff. Tech, BlackBerry, whatever else. So that's what we're here for. And yeah, I was just sharing some of my personal story stuff there, and that's what I did. I mean, before I did all this stuff, I was in the military for 6.5 years. James Neve, she wanted to cook a goodbye meal, and yeah, my mom didn't like me. I mean, she loved me, of course, but she was always wary that whenever I had stuff to tell her, that it meant I was going somewhere again, because I always volunteered for everything. I mean, I went to like SWAT school for a couple of weeks. I went and I was a military weapons instructor. I just, on a dime of a hat, I went, they had a slot open up for that. So I went to school for that for 12 weeks. I went to a combat supervisors course where I did basically squad leader training for deployments. I mean, I used to supervise like 25 people. I used to manage, our budget, our supply stuff, all of our weapons. I mean, I did a lot of stuff. I mean, I retired as a master sergeant. I made master sergeant in 13 years, E7. Let me see. Admin, I did basic at Great Lakes in the winter. Ouch. That's horrible. You must be, that's Coast Guard, right? Or Coast Guard or Navy. Navy goes to Great Lakes, doesn't they? What kind of tech would you have used in the Army? Yeah, I don't know. We used a lot of cool stuff. I mean, we used the night vision goggles. We used the thermal stuff. We, of course, had the Humvees. We had like all the cool things for our weapons. So, I mean, yeah, there was some cool stuff that I got to use. Of course, like, there's drones and all sorts of crazy stuff now, but it's a completely different world. Jeff Neves, I'm a Katrina victim. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, that was miserable. So when I went to cleaning an M9 while watching LiveStream, hey, that's a great way to do it. I have an M9. It's a great service pistol. So whenever I retired, my friends that I work with, actually, they all pitched in and they got me a new model, a 92 model Beretta whenever I retired. So that was really cool of them. Johnny, clear arms. So I just don't have it on right now. I was while I was out using the shovel for like 5 hours, I certainly wasn't wearing my smartwatch, but it's actually on the charger back here. So I have my TicWatch Pro 3 GPS. I had it charging, so you can see the little battery indicator there. So I really like this watch a lot. It's really, really good. Navy. Yeah, I worked with a lot of Navy guys. So one fun thing. So a lot of people don't know what security forces is, but it's like in the Air Force, we do law enforcement, but we also do air-based ground defense, and they send us to basically like an Air Force version of infantry school. So we do like outside the wire stuff. We do installation security. Like we do everything. But when it comes to like military police with the Marine Corps and the Army, they just do law enforcement and like the brig. And then on the ships, they have what's called the Master at Arms, and they actually come and go to our school as well. We train them, and we also train all the dogs for all the different service branches. So security force is a very versatile career field. And I hate to do this. I'm fixing to have to get off of here because I'm at an hour and 23 minutes right now, and my battery on my camera is going to die probably in the next 5 minutes. But yeah, so everybody who's here tonight, I mean, we've been holding it over 100 for a while now. So before you run out the door and before we close up shop, if you had a good time here, go ahead and hit the like button. I mean, we got 55 likes and over 100 people in here, so I'm sure we can make the number go up. But if y'all want to hit the like button, that helps me out because, of course, more people see the video and it gets good exposure. And I might come back and do this again tomorrow. I do have stuff that I have to review. And if y'all didn't get a chance, go watch my my video today on the Quest, the Oculus Quest 2. I had a lot of fun with that. I've got a full review coming up soon. So yeah, I do have some review stuff to do. Monday, I'm actually having a tooth extracted because it broke, which is fine. But I'm getting one of those like implant things put in. So Monday, I'm probably not going to be doing a whole lot of talking. So I'll be back probably tomorrow. I'm going to try. I'm looking forward to that. And then you'll be able to catch me live again on Wednesday for my normal Wednesday show. But thank you, everybody who stopped by tonight. Totally, it was a great time. I love talking to you guys. Thanks for stopping, all the questions. And certainly, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come hang out on the show and be here. So y'all be well. Stay safe. Thanks again. And like I said, hit the like button on the way out. And if you're new here and you've never been here before, hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you can get that. So yeah, thanks so much. I'm going to go ahead and hit the end stream button now. And I'll see you guys later. So have a good night and a great weekend.